Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling Oh, I'm sorry. Every time I get this wrong, man. Welcome back to Steve and Larson's Pro Wrestling Podcast, ruining pro wrestling podcasting since 2014, Larson. But this is the year 2025.
Long time ruining pro wrestling podcasting.
It's a very long time here in the year 2025, the year of our Lord John Cena. So we're taking a page out of his book by ruining podcasting. Larson, it's Monday. We're doing a Monday episode because this Friday we've got family obligations.
We do. We
Kind
do
of.
this upcoming Friday. So no SmackDown review right after the show. We'll do it on Monday.
Yeah.
Still do it.
Look,
It'll just be a week from today.
Here's the thing that you guys have to realize. It's post-WrestleMania. So, like, we're getting Aleister Black versus The Miz, for God's sake.
That could very well be the main event. I don't know.
Right, exactly. So I feel like there's going to be a number of those type things coming up this summertime. I feel like you and I might have a couple more family obligations on Fridays coming up this summer because the summertime, man. We want our Fridays back.
Yeah,
Anyway.
at least some of them.
At least some of them.
At
Anyway,
least
we're going to
some.
talk. We'll talk about that on the basketball court today, Larson. But
There we
first
go.
up,
Are we doing full court today?
no, I don't know. You decide.
Full
you
court
decide.
it is.
We're not doing that. We'll figure it out.
All right, very well, very well.
Here's the problem. This is the problem. If I let you decide, I'm sorry, I love you. You're not the most reasonable person. You want to do too much for our old bodies. I know you watch the playoffs. I've been watching the playoffs, and you're like, man, me and Steve, we need to get back on this grind.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not about that grind anymore, man.
You're not.
Anyways, let's
That's a
talk about
disappointment.
The Rock's grind, Larson, because he seemed to grind a lot of gears backstage.
Wow, listen to that segue. Wow.
What's going on with The Rock in this Pat McAfee interview that people are talking about?
Look, we talked about this particular interview a lot last week. We even talked about The Rock's response to Dave LaGreca responding to the Pat McAfee interview last week.
We did talk about that, yeah.
So, now we got some insight, some takes from Backstage, and it'll be about The Rock missing WrestleMania, The Rock on Pat McAfee, and The Rock's response to Dave LaGreca. Let's start with this. So, sources seem to indicate Backstage that The Rock's absence from WrestleMania wasn't met with much frustration, but more so confusion. The talent thought it was perhaps an, quote, overcorrection from what happened in the build to WrestleMania 40. One source told Fightful that perhaps, quote, The Rock didn't want to be seen as interfering with WrestleMania plans like last year, but possibly didn't understand how integral he would be to the story. Fightful also noted that there were discussions backstage amongst talent about The Rock not only missing Mania, but not promoting it either, with one talent saying, quote, we all found it kind of weird that he didn't promote the show at all. Now, regarding The Rock's comments in response to Dave LaGreca's rant on Busted Open Radio, a talent told Fightful, quote, what does that mean? Is he working every time he stops by and talks to us backstage too? Was that McAfee interview a work even though he specified he wasn't in character?
I like there was one additional comment from somebody backstage who I guess Sean had gotten their like kind of immediate reaction, showed him what he said, and he just said, lol, what does that mean? You know, something like that.
You know, someone in our comments, because, you know, we talked about The Rock responding to Dave LaGreca. You know, we thought, well, is he saying that everything's a work?
Yeah,
That he
yeah,
does?
Yeah.
And there was a I thought a good comment in our comment section, which I'm paraphrasing, but what The Rock was trying to do, according to this commenter, was remind LaGreca wrestling is a work, so don't get so worked up over it.
Well, I'm going to proffer another question here in just a second.
Sure.
I do to a degree. Well, number one, you got to be careful. Like, you getting so worked up about stuff. When you say something along the lines of, it's real to me, like, you know, I get being passionate about things, but at the end of the day, it's wrestling. And look, I think that it's a great, I'll put it this way. We have seen that it can be a great way to get engagement, get people fired up about your content by yelling and by being passionate. You and and I'm not saying that, oh, we're better than anybody. I'm not putting us on a high horse or anything. It takes a lot for us to get that worked up about something. And I don't feel necessarily The Rock's apparent. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Because this is a good kind of segue into my question for you.
All right.
Was The Rock in kind of a damned if he does, damned if he doesn't situation? Because when I watch his appearance on McAfee, it's not like he was, and yes, you can take it as passive aggressive, I guess, because he was using a very passive approach in his aggression. But he was also maybe the focus of some, The Rock wasn't there. So let's put it on The Rock for this situation, for how bad the Mania 41, because The Rock wasn't there. They sent Travis Scott out there. So maybe it was The Rock felt, hey, last year I got killed for being too involved, for showing up and being like, hey, this Rock versus Roman thing is a lot of people want to say I'm getting older. Roman might not be around for very much longer. Let's go ahead and get this done. This is going to be something people are very excited about. And then Triple H had Cody win the Rumble, point at Rock, not doing Rollins instead. So Rock gets killed for that. Even though the finish and it ended up really, really good. It all worked out.
Yeah.
But this year, hey, I can't do Mania. But I'm getting called by the head of TKO saying, ticket sales are soft for Chamber. Can you come in and do a thing? I'm going to come in and do a thing that's really, really cool. I'm going to pitch some ideas. They don't want to go with my ideas. It's not the vision that I'm looking for. And so I don't know if I can contribute much more, but I'll come in and do what you want me to do. You want Cena to turn heel? We'll do the thing, right? We'll reference the bad blood thing, and it'll all kind of work. But I can't make Mania. So
sorry. Did you hear what Kevin Nash had to say about why The Rock couldn't be at WrestleMania?
Oh, please tell me. I didn't.
That apparently The Rock's doing a Scorsese movie.
Well, yeah. So I think I had heard something like that.
Yeah.
But that's a really good reason to miss Mania.
Yeah.
Look, The Rock is clear between that and working with the Safdies. He's in his Oscar phase.
He is.
He's trying to get into an Oscar phase. And so I don't know. And maybe some of this is obviously because we don't know the full story, but also kind of playing devil's advocate here, right?
Yeah.
He goes on Pat McAfee in response to a lot of people saying, oh, Rock wasn't there. Travis Scott was there. This was crap. It's The Rock's fault. Why didn't they bring in The Rock? Why wasn't The Rock there? So he goes on Pat McAfee, and he did take a very diplomatic tone. Even when he was talking shit about it, he was saying, well, I would have finessed things different. I would have done things a little bit different. Was he in just a situation that people were going to kill him anyways? This is a tough situation to be in, and it's The Rock. Like, it's not, he'll be fine. The guy's got billions of dollars probably.
Yeah.
He's working with Scorsese, for God's sake. He's probably going to get an Oscar nom for the Safdie brothers movie.
Yeah.
But was he just in an impossible situation?
I mean, assuming what, based on what some of the talent had to say backstage, where it was in The Rock's mind, I don't want to look like I'm overstepping anything this year. I don't want to take the focus off the match they want to promote as a main event of WrestleMania. It seems like from The Rock's perspective, maybe. And if you think the primary reason he was at Elimination Chamber was to help with ticket sales, really, if it wasn't if everything or most everything had gone off at the end of Elimination Chamber with regards to Cena's heel turn, roughly the same way it did, and The Rock just wasn't there, then things would be different. I mean, because the expectations would have been set that The Rock was going to be at Mania, because it seemed like, based on what happened in Elimination Chamber, we got an alliance here between John Cena and The Rock.
It was a great visual, that they couldn't follow up on.
Yeah. And I'm curious about these meetings or phone calls or Zoom calls or whatever regarding creative pitches from The Rock with regards to the Cody, I Want Your Soul story. And if it was decided well before Elimination Chamber, I don't know. It seemed like they were doing something to set something up. And it obviously, from The Rock's perspective, didn't work out how he wanted to. And, whether it was It felt like they put too much of an emphasis on the short term, as in getting tickets sold for Elimination Chamber, and the company kind of put themselves in a pickle. Yeah. Where they set expectations from their fan base that in no way could they deliver on. And I'm sure at that point, at Elimination Chamber, they knew all that already.
If what The Rock said, if what Dave Meltzer said, and I know, immediately that's going to get us people in the comments saying, oh, you can't trust Meltzer, but he's been right about this stuff. Mm-hmm. Everything that he said has been confirmed and has played out. So it's not a stretch to think that he was right. That Rock said in September, I wasn't going to be there. I'm not going to be at Mania. I'm not going to be available for it. Then in October, then come February or late January, Chamber, yeah. Hey, we need you for Chamber because ticket sales are soft. Okay, what if we do a thing where I ask for Cody's soul and he goes bad? We don't want to do that because from a business standpoint, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's pitch Cena on that. Okay. Well, I'll show up. Cena will turn heel. It'll be a great moment, but I can't be there for Mania. All right. Now you got 2-3 months to figure out what you're going to do for Mania. 2 weeks before, Rock says, I can't make Mania. It's not going to happen.
Shooting a Scorsese movie, for heaven's sakes.
I got a Scorsese. We're doing Mean Streets 2. Okay? It's going to be great. And so come Mania, that's what they give us, and people blame The Rock.
Yeah.
Triple H, I understand. I even understand. And look, you and I have speculated on the whole, well, he wanted to make anti-wrestling. He wanted to do something that was not entertaining to prove his thesis, and it just didn't work. It just sucked. Mm-hmm. Including Travis Scott coming out slowly as opposed to the normal convention of running out there.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if any of that's true or not. Maybe they were like, hey, Travis Scott, go out there and interfere. And Travis Scott didn't understand that, that needs to have some energy to it. That being said, I don't know. Nobody knows what the situation was.
Yeah.
And but there's some connective tissue there. At the very least, hey, Travis Scott was there for the heel turn. It makes sense that he could be The Rock's proxy to a degree. Mm-hmm. 2/3 of the puzzle are there, but the biggest dude isn't there. So I don't know. I do kind of feel like The Rock was unfairly blasted by the general, because everybody who's looking for, somebody to criticize. Well, at the end of the day, it's Triple H and Nick Khan.
Yeah. That
you have. And I do think there's a bit of a hesitation.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Now, if The Rock has been consistent since September, I'm not going to be at Mania this year. Yet, knowing that, he still pitched the idea of Cody turning heel. What if Cody and the company was on board with that? How would have that played out then, given the limitations of his schedule? The Rock, that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that would look like. I don't know. If they were like, hey, that's great, let's go ahead and have Cody go heel. He sells his soul to The Rock. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, that does, you're right. That does beg the question, could The Rock had gone, hey, Marty, can we finagle the schedule for Mean Streets 2 so I can show up for Mania because we got kind of a big angle pulling off?
And look, I'm not posing this question to lay responsibility on The Rock here. I think there's plenty of responsibility to go around for whatever creative shortcomings arose from the Mania 41 main event. And at the end of the day, it's up to WB Creative to make things work in a fashion that's satisfying or interesting or intriguing for the fans. And that's not necessarily what played out in that match. But the thought just occurred to me, well, what if The Rock's pitch had been accepted? Would he have found a way to make himself more available? Because at that juncture, he really needs to be involved in that story. He just can't, I suppose he could, just put the thought in Cody's head and Cody turns heel.
Well,
if if The Rock wants to coronate Cody as his corporate champion, it seems like The Rock kind of needs to be there for that coronation.
I mean, much in the same way that Roman didn't have to be present for much of the Bloodline stuff. Obviously, he had to be there for the big beats, but he didn't have to be present for much of the Bloodline stuff for his presence to be felt.
Yeah.
you could have, I think there was a way you could have done that where The Rock wasn't there, but you'd think that The Rock would need to be there for WrestleMania. And yeah, it does speak to if they had gone with something that The Rock had pitched, would he have made himself available? Could he have finagled it so that he was present to see his vision through? And is there something to be said about, well, you're not going with something that I want to do, therefore I don't want to be involved in it, which you can debate, I think, whether that's valid. And it's like, hey, are you here for the company or aren't you here for the company? Does your presence rely on you getting your way? And as an artist, do we commend that or do we, demonize it? Because it's like, well, you guys aren't going to do the thing that I'm really into. Therefore, I can't really get invested in it. Therefore, it's not going to be great for me to be there because I'm not going to really be feeling it. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the answer is necessarily. I think that you and I can both agree that what was given to us at Mania 41 in the main event fell short of being exciting and interesting, to a large degree for the audience. And I know there are people out there, we have them in our comments, who are like, I was fine with it, but there's a general dissatisfaction to it. They could have made it compelling.
Yeah.
You could have had additional proxies for The Rock. Even if you were like, hey, Rock, we're going to set up this kind of like evil bloodline, not a Solo Sikoa one, but like a bad bloodline. Maybe Jacob Fatu can be a proxy for you. Travis Scott can still be there. But we can set up something that's kind of exciting without you. Maybe you just throw in a Matt chat question or Matt, you can toss in a video. Yeah. And I'm not even advocating because I think like a video appearance would have been lame, but you can set something up where he is a Thanos type guy. Mm-hmm. And there are other people there as his proxy, or you could just make that match better. Yeah, exactly. You could just make that match better.
Exactly. But, going back to the idea that, and this is just kind of a theory that we've been bouncing around. I don't necessarily think it's one that we necessarily subscribe to, but it's an interesting topic of conversation, whether what Cena was doing at WrestleMania was intentionally bad or not.
There are people that and I think is a valid take.
Yeah.
The dude's just old.
Yeah, he's old.
He can't go.
Yeah, and that could entirely be the case. Maybe it's a situation I thought this morning where Cena is under the he realizes I can't go like I used to. Is there an approach that we can make this something that could work for the story I'm trying to tell? But until we see a pattern with these matches, if we do, and again, this Randy Orton one's going to be a pretty serious tell, I feel like.
This is probably going to be the best. The best. Well, let me put it this way. Actually, I feel like this match is going to be the one they're going to need to finesse the most, because if you look at the other potential opponents for Cena down the line, mm-hmm. Punk can still make it work at his age.
Yeah,
he can make it work.
Yeah.
Let's just throw another name out there. AJ Styles at his age can make it work.
Yeah.
You get younger guys in there, like a left field name, Carmelo Hayes, right? That mm-hmm. dude can make a Cena match work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people they have on the roster of a variety of experience and age range that can make it work. Sami Zayn, let's say he does Cena. Yeah. That dude can make it work.
Yeah.
I don't know that Orton can in a regular Orton match, unless if they make this a 12-minute, as much of a sprint as they can, overbook it, do the shit that people are talking about, that references when, like, I love what you say, have Cena really fuck with the refs to try to get DQ'd.
Yeah. It'll be a real litmus test to see if the direction is purposely boring / bad matches, or it was just a bad outing that night.
He can't, yeah.
And if it's a situation where, even if it's a situation where Cena can't go like he used to, you got to think, all right, let's be creative about ways to work around that. And, we don't know what the time frame was for putting this match together. Maybe it was a situation where they were like, all right, 2 days before, we got to put this match together. All right, let's just do this.
The
Doesn't
match
work? All right, back to the drawing board for the Orton match.
The match, and I wonder, dude, if it's also a feeling out process in terms of the creative aspect. The match felt like an extension of his promos. Mm-hmm. And which are kind of long and not without entertainment factor, but also kind of, they're kind of redundant at times. There were a lot of his promos went long. The one with Randy Orton was much more fun.
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe he'll find a way to emphasize that in a match form.
Yeah.
You know, over what we had gotten at Mania 41, I hope, anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got more to talk about here at the Steven Wrestling Pro Wrestling Podcast. But we have a sponsor this week, so let's go ahead and talk about that.
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break to get a word from our sponsor, Tempo. Steve.
Yes.
I can pretty comfortably say that you and I know a lot about fast food.
Ooh, you got that right.
And I'm sure for both of us, there have been countless instances where we were busy or time was tight and we had to settle for a lump of greasy meat product at mealtime.
Oh, man. Then listen here, brother. My whole concept of fast food changed when I discovered Tempo. Tempo is a weekly delivery service that allows you to select from over 20 mindful meal choices that are crafted to cook in just 3 minutes, and they're delivered fresh right to your door.
That's right. Tempo's dietitian-approved menu takes all the guesswork out of eating well, and they've got new recipes each week, like tomato pesto meatballs and braised red wine beef that are made with real, nutrient-rich ingredients, which make it easy to keep up with your healthy lifestyle so you can eat well without sacrificing taste or convenience.
For a limited time, Tempo is offering Going In Raw listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/raw. That's tempomeals.com/raw for 60% off your first box. Tempomeals.com/raw. Rules and restrictions may apply. Let's talk about Charlotte Flair for a little bit, because she was also a point of controversy towards towards WrestleMania, the entire build, I should say. So People magazine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Interviewed
not
Charlotte.
Not just People, not someone on a random person on the red carpet for the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony.
You know, these days, I don't know if like People magazine, I guess it's still a thing, huh?
Yeah, still a thing. I don't know if it's, so many magazines don't necessarily print
I would
periodicals
think they
any
still
longer,
do.
but they exist online. I mean, I think People still does. Yeah.
Barnes & Noble still has a huge magazine section.
Yeah.
I think People's in there anyways.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
People magazine interviewed Charlotte on the red carpet of the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. It seems like Charlotte might be looking to change her character going forward. She said this: "On the opposite side of WrestleMania, I think I will tap more into that and kind of try to bring me, Ashley, the real person, to Charlotte, because I do feel like Charlotte really isn't. The character I made is not relatable. If I could be Charlotte in my real life, I would. In reality, if I wasn't here right now, I'd be in sweats watching old episodes of Sex and the City. But now I feel like at this stage in my career, I'd like to pull the curtain back a little bit and show them like, hey, I've been this hardcore dominant bitch for however many years, but I'd also like to be able to high-five the kids as I walk down the aisle." I feel like WWE missed a huge opportunity for Charlotte when she came back and they spotlighted lifestyles of the rich and famous type vignettes.
As opposed to overcoming adversity.
Right.
Of a massive knee injury. Yeah.
And it did her no favors because she immediately came back. Charlotte wins the Royal Rumble. Didn't have much of a story for her and Tiffany Stratton. And then we saw what happened here.
It's interesting.
The crowd wasn't into it.
No. It's interesting reading this quote from the perspective of the reporting that started coming out after, if not the first, on the second Charlotte-Tiffany promo bit about how Charlotte wanted to return as a face. And we were thinking nothing in the video packages would lead us to believe that that was the aim with said video packages.
Yeah.
Maybe it was. If the idea going into Charlotte's return is like she wants to return as a babyface, and yet the presentation is, as you said, lifestyles of the rich and famous. That's a difficult sell for a babyface.
No, it is. And I think, you and I were lucky enough to interview her 8 years ago, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But between that and that experience, a lot of stuff that I think has also been popping up on social media. It's funny because whenever there's a backlash, sometimes there's a backlash to the backlash. And I've seen plenty of instances on social media, people being like, hey, you know what? Charlotte is, there are various instances where the Ashley comes out. I think Ashley's like a really cool person. She, like, on our personal interaction with her, God, she was such a sweetheart. She was so nice. And in fact, the one thing that she said when we were getting real nervous interviewing her, because we were on the spot, we don't interview a lot of people. We're terrible at it.
Well, we didn't know who was going to be there either, so we didn't have time to prepare anything.
It was like, hey, and the red carpet situation then was like, let's grab this person and then we'll think of the questions. And it was a terrible approach. We should have been like, okay, real quick, what are 3 things we can ask that person and then let's try to get them. Yeah. Right? Learning experience, the entire thing.
Exactly.
But she was so incredibly nice. And the one thing that she said that always stood out to me was like, guys, I'm not like my character. Like, don't be intimidated. I'm not an asshole. And people can be complex. You can be an incredibly nice person who's willing to do, good things with people and put people over. And at the same time, make certain demands and act in a certain way that the men are allowed to do. And for some reason, if the women do it, it's unprofessional. Whether it's go long in a match like she did with Rhea a couple of years ago at WrestleMania, or it is test out people who are younger and put them in deep waters in a promo situation like she did with Tiffany Stratton in the side-by-side interview, which led to like the gnarly promo on SmackDown that just sort of fell apart. And I'm not saying that she's like perfect, but nobody is. And I do think that she gets unfairly blasted for a variety of things, some incredibly unfair, which we've seen in our comments and get an instant ban from me when they start talking about plastic surgery, her body, et cetera, et cetera. It's a gnarly industry when it comes to women. It always has been.
Yeah. Yep.
And trying to adapt to that being under such a harsh, microscope and a spotlight can't be easy.
No.
But yeah, I do think that there was a missed opportunity given that Triple H back in 2002 was given a Beautiful Day video package. And in 2025, Charlotte, or 2024, I think, Charlotte was given, whenever she came back,
massive
yachts, more akin to Wolf of Wall Street, which I still maintain if they had gone full on Jordan Belfort, I think it could have been pretty awesome.
That could have been interesting.
But give her like a Jonah Hill sidekick. I think that would have been great. But yeah, I think that they really goofed on that and missed a good opportunity, because the Charlotte Flair character they've always presented as this larger than life, better than everybody, thinks she's better than everybody situation. It's not very relatable, and you're not going to get a babyface reaction upon your return.
Nope.
Show us what that show us what the injury is like. Show us, she posts often on social media tons of behind the scenes stuff of like her just being a real person, working her ass off to try to get back. Yeah. That's stuff that people will respond to.
Exactly. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff she posted on social media about her rehab process. Because she was out for more than a year.
Yeah.
And if the aim was to have her come back as a babyface, why they didn't focus on that? That I don't understand.
Huge miss.
Yeah, it's a massive miss.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the idea was, and I'm just spitballing here, Tiffany's going to win at WrestleMania. So, like, what's the situation there? If you want, you can't have it both ways. Creative needs to decide, is Tiffany going to go into this as a babyface?
Well, I guess, again, the reporting was that Charlotte was going to be the face in this match and Tiffany was going to be the heel.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I like, did they have to turn... like when they got that, did it all like, was it a domino effect when Charlotte was brought back and they're like, hey, let's show her on a yacht, that'll really get people behind her?
Yeah.
And then it didn't work. Was it like, well, we got to turn Tiffany face?
So the timeline was, it was very beginning of the year that Tiffany cashed in on Nia, won the title, but the video packages for Charlotte started airing late last year, right?
I think so.
But Charlotte didn't even make an appearance. Did she even make an appearance in ring before the Rumble?
Yeah, I think the Rumble was her return.
So I thought. But based on the nature of Tiffany's cash-in,
she was a face.
Yeah. So I don't know. That dynamic is, I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do with all that.
If they wanted Charlotte to come back as a good guy and Tiffany to remain a bad guy, then like that cash-in wouldn't have happened the way it did.
No.
Her, feuding with Nia Jax wouldn't have happened the way it did.
Yeah.
She came out of it as a babyface.
Yeah. But in terms of if they had established the dynamic of Charlotte's face, Tiffany's heel, they do, a series of video packages for Charlotte highlighting her rehab from the knee injury, and Tiffany still wins, then they can just say, well, that's another, bit of adversity in her journey back to claiming championship gold, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then without that dynamic, that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You know what, man? I'll always love Charlotte because back when I used to do like little pictures, like drawings of like wrestlers and stuff, her and Jade Cargill, the only two to actually like write a little comment on the ones that I did of them. Everybody else did like, a little heart or nothing at all.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Alistair might have like did a whole Instagram story where he like included that, which was very nice too.
That is very nice.
Yet such a telling thing to me.
Yeah.
Like the level of engagement that like they give their fan. Like Chelsea Green, man, if you look at her Instagram, it's just like story after story after story of everything every fan. She has like 1 million followers on that.
Yeah.
And yet she will always post people posting stuff about her.
Yeah.
I'm
not surprised. I mean, that the interaction we had with Chelsea at
Starcast.
Yeah, was awesome.
Oh, dude, she's awesome. She's great. She's fantastic.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Not at all.
What do you make? So she posted a thing on her Instagram. Speaking of Chelsea Green,
yeah,
of like the Capitol and like the American flag waving, and she said, "Farewell for now, WWE." I'm assuming it means her U.S. Championship reign is over.
Yeah,
and so that picture kind of lined up with "I'm no longer your champion," but saying farewell to WWE is kind of a heavy thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't just indicate to him. I wonder if she's going to be gone for a little while.
Yes, because you said farewell for now.
I believe that's what it said.
Yeah, she'd be taking some time off.
Could be. Yeah.
That kind of seems to maybe, excuse me, kind of the norm these days. Gunther lost his title. He gets suspended, time off. Cody's probably going to be off TV. Because I imagine, winning a championship, there's more responsibilities on you, not just in terms of TV every week, but live events, you probably are gonna be on those more often than not. Whatever media responsibilities you have as well, there's probably just more responsibilities overall when you carry a title as opposed to when you don't. So
Chelsea Green winning Money in the Bank this year,
fantastic idea.
Oh, love to see it.
Oh yeah,
love to see
it. She's great.
Would love to see it. Anyways,
also great.
Yeah,
Brian Danielson, one of the best ever.
Also great. Your segue.
Wasn't as good as your one earlier.
It's pretty good.
So Danielson was recently interviewed by Jamal Niaz in advance of some boxing event. And Danielson was asked about a potential return to the wrestling ring. And this is how Danielson responded. These transcripts come here from Fightful. He said, quote, "Yeah, but my neck is wrecked. So it's not no chance, but it's risk versus reward at this point, right? So I want to be able to live comfortably with my wife and kids. One of the things our society has a real problem with is realizing when enough is enough, and I'm very satisfied with my career, and I think enough is enough."
I mean, I appreciate he's always leaving the door open. He's also a notorious liar, and I say that in a very loving way. He wants to give fans the real surprises, so I think he probably has this answer loaded up regardless of what his plans are, if he's going to come back next week, a year from now, or never.
Yeah.
This leaves the door open. He doesn't have to lie necessarily. But yeah, man, he's done enough. And as much as if he wants to come back and put his body through that, if he can and still be healthy and happy, good on him.
Yeah.
I don't think AEW needs him. I don't think WWE needs him. So whatever he wants to do, I think he'd be a ton of fun if they ever brought in an authority figure to AEW. Because he's a very entertaining guy, even not in the ring.
Yep.
So, I think that'd be fine. But, if he would want to do that or not, who knows? He might think it's a waste of time. He'd probably just like to be in the ring.
I think he still has some sort of backstage role within AEW.
Yeah, I think he shows up from time to time backstage.
Yeah, he still shows up at shows occasionally. His health and happiness is first and foremost.
Yeah,
you want
absolutely.
him to go in the ring with a wrecked neck and risk significant injury. You know, and my understanding based on other interviews and such is he's trying to avoid surgery.
Yeah.
On his neck. So I don't know if he seems at peace with the idea that his career is over and is focusing on rehabbing his neck so he can live a comfortable life with his family.
Yeah.
Then I would not expect him back in the wrestling ring ever.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. He had a hell of a retirement match.
He did.
Yeah. He got murdered at the end of it.
He did.
Yeah. So Larson yesterday was a bit of a hangover day for old Steve here. You know, Lacey and I went out on Saturday night. So Sunday, I was like, I did like a lot of nothing yesterday.
Yeah.
But one thing I did do, because I noticed it on Triller, was actually I noticed on YouTube they had the pre-show where Elias, now known as Elijah, had an open challenge answered by hysterical Shane Haste.
Interesting.
Which is, I guess, his new gimmick. He didn't seem all that funny, but he's a good wrestler, and he lost to Elias in the pre-Elijah, but he's doing the same shtick. Who wants to walk with Elijah? All that stuff. Anyways, Elijah got the win in Los Angeles at TNA Rebellion kickoff show.
Oh, where in LA was it? The venue.
Ah, shit.
I can look that up. You can carry on. I didn't watch it. You sent me a couple stills.
I was giving you updates.
You were.
Throughout the day. Where was Rebellion? It was in LA at the Galen Center. Which is USC.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Nice little venue. Again, it's kind of like that AEW. At first, I thought it was like the same one AEW was at recently, where the hard cam had like this big chunk of like nothingness. It was like wall or whatever, and then there was like those fans there. But it had like a decent.
Oh, you mean NXT?
I'm sorry, NXT.
The NXT
NXT.
in Vegas,
yeah, that's right. The NXT Fallout one. Yeah. But that was in Vegas.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I watched TNA Rebellion, so I thought I would talk about that a little bit. I'd fill you in because it's been a while since we watched TNA.
Been a long time for me. I know you sent me a bit about how Ed Edwards was not a werewolf, and I found that incredibly disappointing.
Me too. Me as well. Yeah. This pay-per-view is not without its lull TNA moments, which it's so funny that regardless of who is running TNA, I don't even know who's running it now. I think the last guy who ran it got fired because he wanted Joe Hendry on Raw. And then before that, we have, of course, Scott D'Amore, who's now running Maple Leaf, which is like you get a lot of old TNA dudes that were in TNA when we used to watch it.
Yeah.
I think the last time we were really paying attention, I think 2023, I think they did like Kenny versus El Hijo del Vikingo, I think.
Yeah. Well, of course, it was the Honor No More era.
Was that Triple Mania?
That was Triple Mania.
That was Triple Mania. Never mind.
But it was the Honor No More era that we watched.
Yes.
A lot of TNA.
That was a while ago.
Impact. It was still Impact then.
There are still shades of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of Honor No More?
No, Honor No More. No, they're the system now. It's Moose, Ed Edwards,
Alicia,
his wife,
right?
Alicia Edwards.
Yeah.
And, hold on, the system. Oh, Brian Myers is still there. He's there as well. So they're part of the system. All these faction names that are really underwhelming.
They're all better than Paragon, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, I can confirm that. They're all better than Paragon. So some NXT influence on this episode, on this edition of Rebellion, the 2025 Rebellion. It kicked off. The best match was the opener on the card. And it was the Ultimate X, because that's always great.
Yeah.
And I got some exposure to some names that I had heard about, but I'd never seen. So Moose walked in as the X Division champion. He actually had a twofer. He did this one, and then he did another one. Luckily, in this one for him, he didn't do a lot. Him, Casey Navarro, Leon Slater, Matt Cardona, El Hijo del Vikingo, and Sidney Akim, who is, of course, formerly known as Reggie in WWE. Moose and Cardona really had no business being in this match. Granted, Moose, of course, is champion, but they did very just WWE and lower things, right? In terms of the excitement level.
In terms of spots and stuff, right?
You had a bunch of really cool dudes and then them two. So like Leon Slater, this was fucking crazy. You had when it was Slater, Casey, Navarro, Vikingo, and Akeem, they're all doing the like climb, doing the thing, right? Where they're all on the ropes and they're trying to get up to the championship, and they'll bat it like it's like they're cats. And they did all the spots where, like, I'll give you an example. Those 4 guys started off on like all the ropes, right? They each took like one rope and they're all like climbing, right? Like it's gym class. Well, Moose and Cardona get chairs and then start hitting them. So they fall. That's essentially what their role was. So fast forward to the end of the match. Like, there was all sorts of cool spots with those little dudes. Leon Slater, who I've heard a lot of really good things about, but I've never really seen, climbs up to, so like Ultimate X, like each, the ropes are suspended by really long or really tall, like pylons, basically.
Yeah, the trusses. Yeah.
Yeah, right, trusses. Well, he climbs to the top of one of those. It's fucking high.
Yeah.
And he gets up there and he does like, I don't know, a swanton, a senton, some shit, the flipping fucking thing from the top of that.
Gosh.
Down to everybody there. Luckily, they brace his fall pretty decently.
Yeah.
Like a little bit. He still sort of hits. Gets back up. Everybody's out. He basically springs back up because he's the guy delivering this shot, right?
Yeah.
Gets back, climbs it, does the rope thing, grabs the title, but in stupid Ultimate X TNA fashion, you have to maintain possession of it until you hit the ground. And once you hit the ground, if you have possession of it, you're good. So what happens? He does this amazing spot, climbs up there, gets the title, holds it down. Look at me. And everybody's like, yay. He falls down, and to his credit, he executes this pretty perfectly. As soon as his feet hits the ground, the title gets speared out of him by Moose.
Oh, wow.
Who then grabs it and wins the match. So you have this fantastic Ultimate X match that ends with the crowd chanting, "This is bullshit." I'm like, I love Moose, man, but if there was any time that this guy should not have won a match, it was this one. Leon Slater was robbed. That was kind of a stupid finish.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought it'd look cooler than it actually did, but it's like you see somebody just like work his ass off and put his body on the line. This dude should be winning that title.
Exactly.
Next up, we had a really fun 4-way tag team match for the TNA Knockouts Tag Championship. Ash and Heather by Elegance, which is wonderful branding, with the personal concierge. He's like their Luther.
That's good.
It is. It actually is. It's a really good gimmick. Versus NXT's Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. Versus Danny Luna and Jody Threat, also known as Spitfire collectively. And then Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley were in this match too. This was fun stuff. A lot of stuff going on. Ash and Heather by Elegance pick up the win. They retain. And then we had, this is interesting. So X-Pac, Sean Waltman, accompanied the team of the Rascals, which you remember how Trey Miguel would do the spray paint thing and he'd be off?
Always kind of off, yeah.
Well, now you double that up because the other guy, what's his name?
Oh, Zach Wentz.
Zachary Wentz. He also does next to Trey Miguel his own spray paint thing. And it's like they're worse. They're even more off now. So they're all over the map, bro. This spray paint's going over here. They're doing this. It doesn't work. So they come out with Ace Austin, who's dressed up like Billy Gunn.
Yeah.
And then Trey Miguel, I think, is dressed up as Road Dogg. And Zachary Wentz is dressed up like X-Pac. Or maybe that's vice versa. I forget. So they're like the not main event version of DX.
Yeah.
Because Waltman's good. So it's not like somebody dressed up like Waltman and the other guy dressed up like HBK and Triple H.
Yeah.
No, they dressed up like the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac.
Yeah.
And they took on the System, non-werewolf Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and Moose, who, just wrestled 2 matches ago. And Moose ends up getting pinned.
Oh, wow.
By, I want to say, Zachary Wentz.
Well, maybe he did just wrestle 2 matches ago. That makes sense.
True. Yeah. But yeah, they did a whole spot where like X-Pac gives Alicia Edwards an X Factor because she tries to attack him. Then they do Bronco Busters to everybody. Nobody ripped their asshole from what I can tell, which is good.
That's good.
So yeah, the fake DX picked up the win here, but I think it was to motivate an X Division match between Moose and whoever pinned him. I think it was Zach Wentz.
Well, you'd think they want to use the finish of the other X Division match to do a program with Leon Slater and Moose.
Yeah, you would think maybe they'll do a triple threat.
That could be.
After that, we had that new nice TNA International Championship.
That is a good-looking title.
It is a really good-looking title. Steve Maclin versus Eric Young, who's no longer with the Design. He's now with the tag team called the Northern Armory.
Is Diener still in TNA?
He is. He had a qualifying match against Casey Navarro to get into Ultimate X. I didn't see that. I just heard it on commentary. Another thing that was really kind of irritating is that they didn't mic the ring. And so especially during the pre-show, I think they turn on the camera mics to a degree during the main card. But in the pre-show, Elias was chopping the hell out of Shane Haste. Couldn't hear a chop. Could not hear one chop.
What the heck?
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, why is this channel not on? They kind of fixed that during the actual broadcast, so you can hear the ring get hit and stuff like that. But during the pre-show, it was kind of off-putting. Anyways, Maclin gets a roll-up win on Eric Young here to retain his international championship. Match was fine.
It was pretty short. It's only 9.5 minutes, roughly.
It was. Actually, this next match was definitely match of the night. It was Mike Santana versus Mustafa Ali. Apparently, they've had a pretty heated blood feud. Mustafa Ali's presentation is great. I wasn't too huge on his I'm a political guy thing.
Yeah.
But he sort of adapted it to a decent heel thing going on. He had this really amazing Indian dance troupe come out in advance of his entrance. And this match, it was a false count anywhere match. This was fucking awesome. It was a great match.
Yeah.
Mike Santana picked up the win over Mustafa Ali. And then we had Masha Slamovich beating Tessa Blanchard for the TNA Knockouts Championship. Masha came in as champion, left as champion. Really good match. I didn't really get too much. I mean, I've seen what they've been doing with Tessa on social media. I don't know about it. And they didn't really play it up too much, I don't think, in this match. Masha's lost her Russian accent. She just talks like a normal person now. Mm-hmm. That's been, I think, going on for since the end, towards the fall of last year. I just haven't really been paying attention. But yeah, it's just her now. Yeah, I thought she was much cooler when she was I'm a mean Russian person. But whatever. I guess maybe she wanted to just not be doing that anymore. One day, Obafemi's going to be I don't want to do this accent anymore.
Could be.
This was a choice. The Hardies.
That's a way of putting it.
The Hardies came in as TNA tag champions. And Ryan Nemeth pinned Jeff Hardy to win these titles this was fucking weird. Because, Jeff Hardy had the win on, I don't know if it was Ryan or Nick. I forget which one. And the ref goes down to count. And Matt Hardy, is trying to get over to make sure that the other Nemeth doesn't
break up
the pin.
Yeah.
And he sort of steps over the ref, which breaks up her count. It was really awkward, really weird, and very TNA.
Yeah.
People are like, what? Why did he just do that? He just stepped over her? That was weird.
But in stepping over the ref, did his foot get in the way of the count? Because
she was, here's the thing. She wasn't completely on her stomach like most refs. She was kind of on her knees, hunched over doing it. Okay. And so she was a taller roadblock for him.
Yeah.
So he has to
yeah,
step over her, but he's his nuts are kind of on her shoulder kind of thing. It was weird. It was awkward and weird.
That sounds awkward and weird.
Anyways, the Zigglers pick up the win by sort of cheating here. I forget exactly what the situation was.
But you said Ryan Nemeth pinned Jeff.
Ryan Nemeth pinned Jeff, and they were like, oh my God, Ryan Nemeth just beat Jeff Hardy to win the tag titles. And I'm like,
I guess that's good for Ryan Nemeth.
I mean, Dolph was trying to heat up his brother a little bit.
I guess so.
All that. but I don't know. Like I said, it's a choice. And then Joe Hendry beat Frankie Kazarian and Ethan Paige in the main event, which you and I had both speculated, I think appropriately, that Frankie was there to eat the pin.
Didn't happen that way, huh?
No, it was so like this triple threat, so it's no DQ. Somebody had set up a table on the outside, and Hendry did like a DVD kind of thing, or just sort of chucked Kazarian through that table on the outside. Mm-hmm. Nasty landing for him too. The ref didn't even go out there and do the hand thing.
No, it didn't check on him at all.
The ref just sort of stayed in the ring. Was like, he's fine, because then we had the finish, which was Paige then tries to hit Hendry with the title. Mm-hmm. Misses, but the title ends up falling to the mat, and Paige, I think, kicks Hendry in the balls. So you get a nut shot, mm-hmm. and then directly after that, Paige's finish on the title. No hesitation on the pin, goes immediately to pin. Ref goes down. 1, 2, Hendry kicks out.
Wow.
Yeah. They were really overcompensating for the loss at Mania.
I guess so.
And then Hendry hits Paige with his finish, and that's it. Paige eats the pin. And then afterwards, Trick Williams comes in, attacks Hendry.
I mean, I guess if I think I saw something today about Joe Hendry wanting to get the NXT title picture, it makes sense then that he pins the NXT talent, a former champion, no less.
Yeah. I mean, look, you want to make your dude strong, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Just kind of interesting. NXT be like, okay, yeah, Ethan Paige probably about to be called up to main roster.
Maybe that's one of the points of discussion and negotiations to get Joe Hendry to appear at WrestleMania. Yeah, he can take this loss to Randy Orton in 3 minutes, but he needs to pin somebody
from the WWE side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Indy Hartwell's there. She signed with TNA.
I saw that. That's good. That's great.
That's good for her. Great for TNA. They got a killer Knockouts division.
Oh, yeah, the Knockouts division is great.
Yeah. So anyways, there is Steve explaining TNA Rebellion. See, now it's officially a tax write-off.
There you go.
There you go. We have some questions here that we can answer.
We do.
From the Friendos. So why don't we go ahead and do that before we wrap up today.
Let's start with the Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
So at what point does Cena's meta heel run lose its appeal and simply become a bad heel run? Well, I guess we have to answer this question under the assumption that it is a meta heel run, especially as it relates to the matches.
Well, I think we can, by virtue of the packaging to a degree.
Yeah, but I think for the full meta effect, it's got to imbue the matches as well.
Deconstruct pro wrestling via matches.
Which is, it's the genesis of the kind of operating theory you've been working under about this is possibly the case. It's a way to explain what we saw at WrestleMania. Could be completely off base, but
well, let's broaden the question a little bit.
Sure.
3 years from now, when we look back on this run, what are the criteria for it being bad versus good? What's going to be the difference between this being Planet's champion Daniel Bryan and, I don't know, what's a bad heel run? I think, number one, the promos have been entertaining so far. I think that kind of stuff. If the promos, like we saw on SmackDown, continue throughout the year and have that level of inspiration and improv and fun to them, and the variety of opponents he has are all bring something different to the equation. Mm-hmm. If the matches are at least serviceable, which it wasn't at Mania.
No.
If the matches all maintain from here on out a certain degree of intrigue and interesting, fun, creative ways for him to cheat to win, which is going to be his thing, I think.
Yeah.
Then I think it'll be considered a good run.
A good run. I feel like it over the course of the next, 26 dates he has, we need to see some evolution of the character too.
Sure.
And how that informs the matches as well. Now, does that necessarily mean a full redemption arc by the end of the year? I don't know. But I feel like the heel John Cena that's champion today can't be the same character at the end of the year.
Sure.
There needs to be some growth, some evolution, some change in the character, even if he stays heel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if not, it's going to feel, while at times entertaining, kind of one note.
Yeah.
And more like this is a concept of a story as opposed to like a real story.
Yeah. It needs a couple of big moments too.
It does. It needs some twists and turns.
The heel turn itself was a big moment. And if you have 2 or 3 more like, oh my gods, then I think you're probably in good territory.
Yeah.
You do need a couple of classic matches, though. You need some matches that are like, holy shit.
I think at the end of the day, though,
was great.
Even if the matches are at best serviceable, if from a story perspective, it progresses at a really interesting pace, and some huge moments happen, I think people will kind of look past mediocre matches if the story's good.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think if the story's middle of the road and the matches stink, then that's an issue.
Static G Medina says, what would you say makes a title relevant? I hate to say this, but it's kind of true. The amount of marketing oomph that a company puts behind it. It's like if a company is fully behind a particular wrestler and that wrestler doesn't lose and that wrestler is in prominent spots against other wrestlers that are pushed heavily and that wrestler beats those wrestlers that are pushed heavily, then that's how you make titles relevant. You look at the Gunther title, for example. We love Gunther. The guy beats everybody.
Yeah, he's great.
If you look at this world title run, if you look at the level of his opponents and like the stories that they told or didn't tell and where he was placed on the card, it kind of makes for his title reign to be unimpressive compared to...
Yeah.
Now, if he's putting on Mat Classics every time against really quality opponents in main events, then I think there's a different level of interest, and therefore the reign is more relevant than otherwise.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said. Story, I think, is an important factor too, where the difference between Gunther's run and even Cody in terms of just the amount of creative attention putting into their respective stories, that gulf is massive. And that Cody had stories and Gunther tepid stories at best.
Yeah.
You could tell which titles are more relevant, at least from the perspective of the company, because those are the ones that they're putting the creative energy into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. If, conversely, if you look at his Intercontinental Championship run, I mean, that thing did main event here and there. I think. Certainly on Raw, but I don't know about pay-per-views. Was he world? No. But you look at the level of opponents. Like when he was fighting guys like Sheamus, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Sheamus, former world champion, he's a banger match now guy. Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
Sammy. Sammy.
Yeah.
His lineup as Intercontinental Champion was better than his lineup as world champion.
Yeah.
If you don't count the house show. So the house show, I remember that one take was like his house show circuit opponents would have made for a killer reign because it was like AJ, CM Punk.
Yeah.
So.
Flying, what is this? Flying
Farron
says, including the Raw and SmackDowns after Mania, what was your favorite night and/or favorite moments over WrestleMania weekend?
I would say probably wasn't night 2 the Intercontinental Championship one?
Mm-hmm.
I would say night 2. Simply because we had the triple threat to kick it off. The Intercontinental was phenomenal. And then, if nothing else, the Cena one was intriguing because it was like, what did we just see?
Yeah.
What is going on right now? And that's always a lot of fun, too. So I would say night 2 is probably my favorite night.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the favorite moment is probably Heyman turning on Punk and Roman to align with Seth. Because we saw it coming, but to actually see it happen was something else. And that's the way they put it all together was really well done.
That's a good point. Yeah, that was by far the best single moment angle thing. Yeah, I could agree with that.
AJ Otani here says, could Cena fit winning the Intercontinental title until his final run become a Grand Slam champion? It doesn't seem to be a priority for him, so no, it's not going to happen.
Don't see that happening.
Nope.
Deontay Grove says, who is the strongest champion in kayfabe in all of WWE?
It's Jacob Fatu. Kicks out of things at one. No sells moves.
Not a mean. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Doesn't have to cheat to win.
EO's up there, though.
Yeah, EO is up there.
EO's up there. EO and Jacob. Who's the IC champion? Oh, Dom. Tag, Raw tag. Yeah, Jacob and EO, I think. But yeah, you might have a point with Jacob. He might be. That's a protected dude.
You got that right.
Boy, that dude's ceiling is high, man.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine him going on Good Morning America? That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Now the weather report with Jacob Fatu. Not a mean.
The storm is moving through the upper northwest. All gas, no brakes.
Can we skip to the good part? Says, with the draft allegedly right around the corner, which championship swap makes the most sense for the most impact? Getting Jacob Fatu on... Oh, he is on SmackDown.
Yeah, he's on SmackDown. So the world champions aren't going to switch shows, I wouldn't think. I wouldn't think either the top champions in the men's or women's division are going to swap shows, probably.
They're all of them are where they probably should be.
Yeah.
I think everybody's where they need to be. I mean, maybe you could move Roman officially to Raw, but Roman goes where Roman wants to go.
But again, that's not like a champ. You know, he's not a champion now. So if the idea is champion,
oh yeah, right, yeah. I'm just trying to like line up potential opponents for the titles.
Because like I wouldn't see a situation where they'd send the world heavyweight champion to SmackDown, but not send the women's world champion to SmackDown too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because while the belts aren't necessarily branded in line with Raw, they are consistent.
Yeah, I don't see them changing that. And I don't think there's a reason to move any of the mid-card titles.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I don't think any of them make any sense.
No. Ryan K. Lamb says, with Mania season now over, what would you like to see WWE do as far as booking and call-ups leading into next year's Mania?
Drew McIntyre, I'll give you one. Drew McIntyre doesn't lose another match. Does not lose another singles match. Unless it's like some wonky-ass shit where there's a DQ, he gets attacked. Like we saw last week, he gets attacked.
Yeah.
The other dude wins. I forget if that was a no contest or DQ. But...
No, they ruled that one a DQ.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, that was a DQ because it cost LA Knight the match.
Drew needs to be the next big bad.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of call-up that would be like super impactful. I mean, it seems... I guess I was about to say it seems clear that Trick Williams is going to get called up, but if he's showing up in TNA to get in the title picture there, I guess it depends when the draft is. If it's not till June when SmackDown moves to 2 hours, then it's entirely possible. But if it's going to happen the next 3 weeks, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Ignacio has another film question. I love Ignacio's film questions.
Oh, he's the best.
He's the best. What are the films that made you want to study film and create? Thank you so much, guys.
For me, there was two. Saw Clockwork Orange when I was in high school. And shortly after that, saw Taxi Driver. Mm-hmm. Those are the two films. I was like, all right, maybe getting to the movie stuff would be something interesting.
Mine was Pulp Fiction. And there's three of them. Pulp Fiction, Clerks, and reading Robert Rodriguez's book about filmmaking. Mm-hmm. I love the DIY idea of it. Mm-hmm. And that's why Clerks was such a good thing and bad thing for so many people, because it was like, hey, you can make movies too. And it's like, that was kind of a lightning in a bottle situation for Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
That was not easily replicated.
No. Try as people might to replicate the Clerks formula down.
Try as they may, a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, it is a movie with a lot of charm, and it is a very inspiring story behind the making of that movie, as was Rodriguez's. Oh shit, what was it called? Desperado? Was that?
No, it was El Mariachi before.
El Mariachi. Thank you. Yeah. And then Pulp Fiction for just like, you know, it was just the coolest fucking thing. Like, you know, they wove all those stories in and out. You know, I don't know how well it's held up. I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, that was my jam back in the day.
Austin Zentmeyer here says the "You Can't Steve Me" shirt. What does it mean to Steve somebody? I imagine it's when someone helps themselves to a few of your fries or a piece of candy. Damn it, I just got Steved.
Oh man, yeah, the dad tax.
What does it mean?
Do you have a dad tax in your home?
No.
I make Bama some toast. There's a bite out of it. Dad tax.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Oh really?
No.
Oh yeah. You get look, man. Brought you into this world. You're using my resources. Tax. It's teaching them about economics.
Sure.
You don't get nothing. You don't get nothing without paying the tax, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude. You know, you get a little something missing. Where'd it go? Oh, I got Steved. That's what I got off the top of my head.
All right. It's Monday.
I don't know. Here's the thing. Cena's thing is you can't see me, and C vaguely sounds a little bit like Steve. Everybody says I look like John Cena, so it made sense to do the hat. It's
That's
around
the
here
extent
somewhere.
of it,
Yeah. Oh, let me put up the thing here.
put the thing. Yeah, promote the
There's
stuff.
a thing. Look, I got the shirt. It got me on it. It's for Wrestle Juice, the other channel that I do. And then I got the CM Punk Signature Series title, and I'm looking for something. I'm like, where did I put my car? I don't know where my car is. It's so bright out here.
You're in the massive parking lot, and you're looking for your car out there in a warm, sunny day.
Yeah, you can get it right now at friendoshop.com. We also have, dude, they're finally up, Larson. I ordered us a couple of these.
Oh, yeah. The
thing.
We Ruin Pro Wrestling podcasting shirt, yeah?
Yeah, we got the thing up here. There it is. Look at that. Stephen Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast. Got on a hat, got on a shirt. Very plain. Tells you exactly what it is in Arial black font. People be like, oh, I wonder where that shirt is. No, you don't, because it says what it is.
It's very plainly stated on front.
friendoshop.com. You use promo code Friendo2024 to get a discount.
20%? Is that what it is?
20% off.
20% off.
Exactly. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Bye.